Welcome to the Tech M&A Podcast. Presented by the Corum Group. Welcome to the Tech M&A Podcast. Here we dive into the strategies, challenges, and candid stories of tech entrepreneurs who have successfully sold their companies. Today I'm joined by Niles and Rob Kopp, co-founders of Metro Data Centers, a full-service provider of interconnection and data center solutions who exited their company in 2020. Thanks for sitting down with me today, guys. To start, can you each tell me a bit about yourselves and your company? Niles, let's start with you.
Yeah, my name is Niles Overley, and I'm the former CEO of Metro Data Center, which participated in the Corum sale. Personally, I'm a lawyer and a certified public accountant, so I come at it a little differently than my partner, Rob Kopp, who's more technical in the data center area. But I've done 12 startups and done a lot of been CEOs of several different companies over the years. So this was kind of my final finale with my great partner of 35 years.
And what about you, Rob?
Yeah, my name's Rob Kopp. I'm born and raised in Columbus, Ohio, and in the Midwest, and grew up in the farmland, and through high school and whatnot, ended up falling in love with software, and writing software, and got into technology some years ago, and kind of stayed that in my entire career, basically, in the technology field. And I met my business partner, believe it or not, in 1980 when I went to work for him, and as software development, and from there went on to build software companies and architectures, and then branched into data centers, computer data centers, and then cloud and municipal networks and the like.
So why did you decide to go through a process? What was the motivation? Rob?
Yeah, I think the motivation was the flexibility of how to enter a market. In my business partner, Niles Overley, is much more experienced at that area. And so to me, it was fairly new. And the process was new versus having somebody just come by and, walk by and go, hey, I'd like to buy you. What would the process actually look like if we were in an open market, in a worldwide market, and particularly with data centers and cloud and the technology and the complexities of the business with what we had. So we're pretty excited about, Corum and the M&A market, entrance that they brought to us.
And you, Niles?
Well, anytime we put together a business, we always think exit. I think that's anybody that's responsible should always be thinking in terms of what would an exit look like? When would it happen? How should it happen? What's that process going to be? Because very often it does. You don't typically keep a business forever, and bring your children in and everything else. That's pretty unusual. So we thought about our process early on, and then there came the time when we thought it was proper to execute it.
Why were buyers interested in your company?
Well, I think we're a little bit unique in regard to our business wasn't just computer data center or cloud. We brought in municipal networks where we had fiber and internet and connectivity to the local. So if you believe in parks and recreation and water and sewage, this new model was actually municipalities with fiber networks and building that. And so that was a niche, I think, that we brought to the marketplace, but certainly data centers in themselves in the municipal area, I think that we had very high growth business, area that we planted this data center, and how we connected it really made us stand out.
Niles?
Yeah, we had an unusual business. Yes, it's a data center business, and it had cloud, but we also dealt with municipal fiber networks, and we were an edge data center, which today is kind of a big deal, right next to the wire, basically. And that led a lot of people being very interested in us.
How did you communicate with the people in your company? Who knew, who didn't? And how did you make that decision? Well,
the nice part about it is my partner and I basically kept it to ourselves. And it was one of those where we were able to do that till a point that we couldn't any longer. But through the process, we joined up and and collaborated together and did a lot of interviews, and talked about the business quite a bit, but we didn't have a widespread need to share it, until near the end where we needed to involve some other people in an appropriate time, but it worked out well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we had one very key employee that we brought into the process at an intermediate time, not early because we weren't sure, even though we'd executed a letter to work with Corum that really anything was going to develop. But at some point, you've got to bring your trusted people in. It's just the right thing to do. And we did that with that person. And then he participated in the diligence, et cetera.
How did you both juggle running the company as well as getting things done in the M&A process?
Well, that's a great question because in my previous transactions, I'd had large organizations where I had several CFO types, general counsel, stuff like that. We kept this organization small for a reason. We had a lot of 1099 people because we just didn't want to have all the employees to deal with. So when you have a smaller business, you need a lot of help. We needed to execute the business plan while we're also trying to sell the company. So we needed an independent, banker to come in and help us sell the business and do as much as they could to help us so we could run the daily operations.
Mm-hmm.
In a technology field that we're in with data centers and cloud, it just never ends, right? It's 24/7, 365. So you have to try to balance, and we got some help where we needed help, but my business partner is very, seasoned in that area. It really helped quite a bit. But so we did it together, and we did the extra work, it's hard work. And, but yet it was encouraging and, it was, and joyful, at times, but yeah, it was stressful.
What surprised you the most along the way? Do you think you made any mistakes?
Been asked that question before. And I think in previous transactions, I might've made some mistakes that I regretted, but nothing big. But this one, I think fell into line. We had a lot of experience and Rob and I had worked together for a long time and he'd participated in some of the transactions we'd had. So he knew what was needed at the time. So no, I think we did a pretty good job. And again, with the help of Corum, anytime we might have made a mistake, we were told, hey, let's do something differently.
I think one of the things that surprised me most was some of the hard work, particularly in the area of projecting financials and because you're trying to close business and build business and project business out. I think that was probably for me personally one of the hardest parts of the process in and of itself. And yes, that's one of the areas we got help with. Just balancing and doing that at the same time was probably it. Other than that, I think talking about the business and sharing it with others becomes just it's a natural thing because everybody should be able to talk about their own business, with some level of confidence. And I think that intermingled with the fact that we had to really work hard, it shouldn't have been that surprising. Let's be honest. Yeah.
What advice would you two give to entrepreneurs considering an exit?
Well, first, get an investment banker like a Corum. Again, they're just going to provide the value of whatever you have to pay them. They're going to provide a lot more value than that, both in time and premium they'll develop for your business. And always be very careful when you're making an LOI that makes sense. In other words, I like an LOI that's pretty definitive. I don't want one that is just kind of sloppy and then we work towards a purchase agreement. I want that purchase agreement to match up pretty well. So there are no surprises. You don't want to get halfway through this and then in the middle of drafting a purchase agreement, everything goes to heck. So yeah, that's what I would say. And the second thing is don't take an escrow.
Yes.
That's something you never receive typically. And we laugh about that, but that's been my experience. And it's not necessarily that somebody is trying to take it from you, but get as much as you can up front.
Rob?
Yeah, I think it's the get help. I think absolutely. And that's where Corum fits in very well. I think because they're seasoned at it, right? And so the more it's like in information technologies or computers, the more you know, the more you find out you really don't know, right? So getting help and getting the right kind of help, whether it be financial and accounting, bookkeeping, that kind of thing, or whether it be, and that's in projecting and whatnot. But I do think getting the right amount of help is really the key. It's absolutely the secret sauce.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Tech M&A Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please share it with your friends, colleagues, and fellow entrepreneurs. We release new episodes every 2 weeks, so make sure to subscribe and stay up to date on our latest interviews and tech M&A research. And while you're there, go ahead and drop us a rate and review. And if you have any suggestions or topics you'd like us to cover, please reach out to us on social media or email us at info@corumgroup.com. Join us again next time for more inspirational stories and practical tips from tech founders who have successfully navigated the exits of their companies.